You may not know this, but PricePicks does a lot of little things behind the scenes that makes you lose a ton of money and makes them a whole lot richer. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the different things that PricePicks does, whether it's influencing your research behavior, influencing which bets you take, or even changing lines on you, or even scamming you with a mispriced line. I'm going to be showing you all of these things that PricePicks does and how you can actually beat them without using any research, without paying for other people's picks, just by solely using data and math. So, my name is Choi Cooks. I'm a professional sports bettor. I made over $200,000 last year just from sports betting, and probably on PricePicks I have over $30,000 to $40,000 in just net winnings. I've been limited on PricePicks to $5 every single bet. So I'm going to be showing you guys the things that I did to make so much money that I can't even get down more than $5 on a single bet. So with that being said, let's get straight into the video. Alright guys, so I have an example right here on the computer for you guys that I want you to take a look at, okay? So on PrizePicks, we have this line for Rickea Jackson on the Los Angeles Sparks for 13.5. And a little thing that you might notice is it's the most popular pick for the over. And if you wonder why, if you click this little statistic here, which is used to look at the last 5 games, it's all green. Well, except for one game, but as you can see, she has cleared this line in the last 4 out of 5 games. So she's cleared this line against Indiana, Minnesota, and all of these other teams, right? 22 points, 19 points, 14 points, 15 points. But if you really look at the data behind this, okay? So majority of people would just say, oh, okay, cool. Last 5 green, I'm going to take the over. If you even look over here, Angel Reese, 12 rebounds. It's pretty popular for the under because 4 out of 5 games are red. Now, this is a very, very, very rookie mistake that a lot of people tend to make. I'm sure if you're watching this, you already know, because this is on OddsJam, right? Not to look at the last 5 because it literally means nothing, right? So if we go over to OddsJam here, I have Rickea Jackson's under pulled up for 13.5. And as you can see, right across the different sports books, it's at minus 128, minus 130. Bovada has it at minus 135. Fliff has it at minus 140. And what these odds mean is every single time you bet $140 on Fliff, if that bet cashes, you'll get $100 in return, so on and so forth. And if you look at her over 13.5, right, it's clearly the underdog. A lot of books are offering you even money, plus 100, minus 110 on Fliff, minus 102, basically even money. And how PrizePicks works, right, we're getting fixed payouts. So if I were to choose the over and combine it with Natasha Cloud's under points, right, we're getting paid a 3x either way. If we choose less on Rickea Jackson, we're still getting paid a 3x. It doesn't really matter. Whether we choose the over or the under, we're still getting paid the exact same amount. Now, the reason why this is important is because these two props don't have a 50% chance of hitting, right? It's not 50% over, 50% under. There's clearly a slight edge on Rickea Jackson's under because the sports books are all favoring it, right? If it was a clear 50-50, they would both be at even money, plus 100, plus 100. But as you can see, even FanDuel, DraftKings, Bovada, some of the largest sports books inside of the United States with billions of dollars in research models and data models that have access to all of these, data points before you do, are clearly favoring the under here. So what we can actually do here is to find the true percentage, a true probability of these props hitting, we can do something called devig, or devigging the prop. So what the vig is, basically, it's juice that the sportsbooks use that they add or tax to the line so that they can make some type of money, right? That's how sportsbooks make their money with the vig. So long story short, in order to find the true probability, we can head over to the OddsJam No Vig Fair Odds Calculator. I'll leave a link to it in the description. It's completely free to use. You don't have to have an account or anything. All we're going to do here is we're going to enter both sides of the odds. So let's say, for example, for our data point, we're going to use DraftKings, right? We have minus 130 and plus 100. If we head over here, we go minus 130 and then plus 100. And as you can see, the no vig odds, the real odds, right? We have a 53% chance for this prop to hit and a 46.94% chance for the under. I'm sorry, the under has a 53% chance to hit, whereas the over only has a 46.9% chance to hit. Now, again, why is this important? What are we doing with this no vig percentage? Like I mentioned, PrizePicks give you fixed payouts. So in what world would it be smarter to take the over when you have a less probability of that prop hitting, right? Because obviously it's different on FanDuel and DraftKings because you're getting paid differently. It doesn't matter, on PrizePicks, whether you take the over or the under, because you're getting paid out the same amount. Whereas they make it fair on DraftKings and FanDuel where they pay you out less if the favorite cashes, and they pay you out more if the non-favorite side cashes. So how we can actually use this to our advantage, right? Basically, we just scroll through OddsJam. This fantasy optimizer tool is great. What I like to do, especially for the WNBA, is I just go down here and I click WNBA for the market, right? And what I'll do here is I'll actually just scroll through the different sports books, the different books, and see where I can find the most value. A lot of the times what I like to compare it to is either FanDuel or DraftKings, because those are the two largest sports books, or two of the largest sports books inside of the United States, like I mentioned. So they're great data points to be using. So I mean, as you can scroll down here, as you can see, we have another one right at the top. We have Jordan Canada on the Atlanta Dream over 23.5 PRA, minus 132 on FanDuel. And as you can see, even on books like Underdog and Fliff, right, the line isn't at 23.5, but it's at 24.5. So as you can see, this is a clearly mispriced line on PricePicks if they're offering this for fixed payout. So if we go back to PricePicks right here, we can actually go and search for Jordan Canada, and we can see the line is at 23.5. So I like to compare it like this, right? If you're shopping on PricePicks, 23.5, and another book has that line at 24.5, it's the same thing if you're trying to buy a watch, right? Quick flex, look at my watch. If I went to the one Rolex store and this was $7,000, and the Rolex store down the street is selling this for $9,000, the exact same watch, exact same condition, which store am I going to buy it at? Right? If I'm buying this for $7,000 and I want to sell the Rolex for $10,000, I'm going to make $1,000, $2,000 more if I buy it here rather than if I were to buy it at this store. It's the exact same thing on PricePicks, right? If we play with an edge, this is called the edge, the value that we're playing with, right? If we take Jordan Canada's over 23.5, I mean, as you can see here, the last 5 stats, it really doesn't matter, so I never really look at those. I just kind of like to look at it for amusement to show you guys how PricePicks is really just trying to trick you with most of these last 5, most of these popular tab games, right? So if we go back to OddsJam here, right, we can see Underdog 24.5, Flip 24.5, FanDuel favorite at minus 132. So if I go to FanDuel here, I'm actually going to look for it. So we can go back to WNBA and then find the Atlanta Dream. Scroll down a little bit until I find, where is it? Combos, I believe. And then we have Jordan Canada's PRA. And as you can see here, minus 132 plus 100. We head over to the Novig calculator again. 53.23% chance, 46.77% chance. So it's an absolute no-brainer, right? That PricePicks is clearly ripping us off, right? On a lot of these props, if you were to take one side, if you were to take the under, you're missing out on 4 or 5% juice, right? If you're not doing the research, if you're not actually calculating what the Novig odds are, if you don't actually sit here, line shop, compare these lines to other books, you're getting scammed, you're getting ripped off, right? In the long term, if you are constantly playing with the edge, constantly playing for value, you're going to be a lot more profitable in the long term. This is the exact strategy that I use for not only WNBA. I mean, for the sake of this video, obviously, I'm saying this is a great strategy to use, especially with the amount of volume going on with the WNBA right now. There's a ton of volume throughout the day, ton of value that you can secure, and then you can actually combine these into optimal PrizePicks parlays to make sure that you're profitable in the long term, right? And if you don't know what if you don't know what the optimal PrizePicks parlays are, I'll go over them for you right now. All right, guys, so on your screen right now are the different types of slips on PrizePicks alongside their break-even odds and implied percentages. So the implied percentage or a break-even odd basically just means the percentage of times that you need to be able to hit your props in order to be profitable with that type of slip. So we have everything from the 2 power to the 5 and 6 flex and everything in between, obviously, on PrizePicks, starting off with the 2 power, which has break-even odds of 57.74%, which means in order to be profitable using the 2 power, we need to be able to hit our props at least 57.75% of the time, which is, quite a high number. Moving forward to the 3 power and the 3 flex, the worst types of slips on PrizePicks. If you're buying picks or if you're following anyone on social media that posts a 3 power or a 3 flex on PrizePicks, run. They are definitely not profitable. They don't know what they're doing because these are the worst types of slips you could possibly play on PrizePicks, right? Every other fantasy app is giving you a 6x payout when PrizePicks only gives you a 5x payout. That's why the implied odds, the implied percentages are so high on PrizePicks, right? You need to be able to hit your props at least 60% of the times when using a 3 power or 3 flex. And that number is outrageously high compared to every other break-even percentage, break-even odd on here, right? Next, we have the 4 power and the 4 flex. These aren't as bad as the 2 power, 3 power, or the 3 flex. Obviously, along with some correlation thrown in with the 4 power or 4 flex, these can be very profitable. I like to use the 4 power a lot. I never really use the 4 flex just because of how similar these break-even percentages are, and the 4 power obviously will pay you out a lot more than the 4 flex will. So with the 4 power and the 4 flex, you need to be able to hit your props at least around 57% of the time. Moving on to the most profitable types of slips on PricePicks, we have the 5 and the 6 flex. With the exact same break-even odds implied percentage, we need to be hitting our props at least 54.35% of the time. Now, this is the most profitable and I wouldn't say that the easiest type of slip to hit on PricePicks, but it definitely is the most profitable just because of the low break-even percentage, right? Alongside the OddsJam clip that I showed you earlier and the no vig percentages, if we can find 5 or 6 props that will average out to a 54.35% break-even percentage, that is a correctly played, profitable, optimal slip on PricePicks. The different types of slips on PricePicks actually matter, whereas you might not think that they matter as much, but in reality, if you are, betting with value, if you're not constantly combining, your value-driven props into these optimal parlay types, it doesn't really matter because in the long run, the math isn't mathing and you're not going to be profitable. So the most optimal type of way to obviously, hit your slips, right, and to profit on PricePicks in the long term is by combining everything that you find on OddsJam. So let's say, for example, right, we put this prop into a 6-leg parlay. We have a 53.23% no vig percentage, and using this calculator right here, it still really wouldn't be enough, to be profitable over time. And obviously at the time of recording, there's not really too much on the board right now because it's 1:20 in the morning. But as throughout the day, there's a whole lot more value, right? You'll see stuff like 55%, 56%, and all you have to do is really just snipe those and combine them into a whole lot of different parlays, a whole lot of different volume, optimal PricePicks slips with correctly taken positive EV stances, and you will be super, super profitable in the long term. And I mean, you can take it from me, living proof. This is like my 3rd, 4th PricePicks account, and I'm limited to $5. I've pretty much given up on trying to be profitable, or not trying to be profitable because I already am, but I pretty much given up on trying to, keep on making different P2s for PricePicks and all these different things because I get limited pretty fast using this strategy. And, to each their own, but I was pretty much getting down, 10, 11, 12, sometimes even like 15, 20 slips a day. Just with all the different volume, the amount of volume that the WNBA has. A lot of people just, stop betting when the NBA is over, when it's the off season. But you're sleeping on a whole lot of money here, right? Money doesn't sleep, so neither should you, right? Data runs the world, so it should run your sports betting as well. And this is the only way that you can be profitable on PricePicks in the long term. Researching the last 5, researching statistics, none of that stuff matters if you're not playing with the edge. If you're not securing value, you will never be profitable. It's as simple as that. But yeah, with that being said, this is, a strategy that the sports books, especially PricePicks, really don't like. And I mean, obviously, they've banned me and limited me quite a few times. So if you are prepared to get down enough volume, and like I mentioned, using this strategy, right, just a quick warning, it's not going to secure you a ton of profit in the short term. Sports betting isn't a get-rich-quick scheme, right? That's gambling. I treat sports betting like an investment, and I get back my return on investment over time, right? The ROI comes back. You have to be able to stomach, the bad variance days. Sometimes you're going to have slips that, go 0 for 6, or sometimes you're going to have days where you don't hit any slips at all. But once you're able to stomach the bad variance and you constantly get down enough volume, it just goes up and up and up from there. The way I like to think about it, right? Imagine you have a coin. Think about each coin as the sports bet that you're picking as one leg of your parlay. And every single coin is different, right? This coin could have a 53% chance to land on heads. This coin could have a 60% chance to land on heads. But as long as all of those coins average out to the break-even percentage of your type of slip, right? That's a good PricePicks slip. That's a profitable PricePicks slip. And, sometimes just because you flip that coin, that doesn't mean you're always going to land on heads. It doesn't mean you're always going to, hit your bet. But the more times you flip that coin, the more times it's going to average out to your percentage, to your break-even percentage, if that makes any sense. It's almost like the law of large numbers in statistics, right? The more times you flip or the more times you run the sample, the external factors, the chances of luck are all fade it out and you start to even out more to your profitability percentage. So yeah, I mean, with that being said, that's pretty much the entire strategy for PricePicks that I use. It's all about line shopping. It's all about comparing odds and finding the no vig break even percentages, combining them into optimal PricePicks slips, and you'll be very, very profitable no matter what sport you bet on, right? The WNBA, huge. With the NFL coming up, it's going to be even bigger. So with that being said, if you guys want to see more strategies, more PricePicks content, more sportsbook content in general, I just love making educational videos for you guys. But yeah, if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.